Hello, dear friends, and welcome to today's cozy story time. This tale is meant for all ages, so whether you're a child, a teenager, or an adult, looking for a soft and heartwarming moment, you're in the right place. So, grab a warm drink, settle into your comfiest chair, and let's begin. Our story starts in a quiet little town surrounded by hills and forests, where birds greeted the mornings with cheerful songs, and the evenings smelled of fresh bread from the old bakery on the corner. In a small cottage with ivy climbing the walls lived Daniel, a young man with extraordinary talent. He could paint skies so real you almost expected the clouds to move, and he could play the violin with such sweetness that even the neighbor's cat would curl by his feet to listen. But Daniel had a secret. Though his gifts were admired by those closest to him, he carried a fear that weighed heavily on his heart. He was terrified of showing his true abilities to the world. Whenever someone encouraged him to share his music or display his paintings in the town square, his hands would tremble and his voice would grow faint. Daniel's little cottage was filled with canvases turned to face the wall and sheets of music folded away in drawers. To him, they were private treasures, kept safe from the eyes of strangers. He would walk through the meadows, listening to the wind in the tall grass, wondering if he would ever feel brave enough to share his gifts. The villagers liked him dearly. Mrs. Willow, the baker, often gave him warm rolls and asked, "When will you let us hear your violin at the summer festival?" Daniel would smile politely, but the thought of standing in front of a crowd left his chest tight and his stomach knotted. For now, he chose to remain hidden, painting in the soft glow of lamplight and playing melodies that only the stars could hear. His life was peaceful, but deep down, he longed for something more. He just didn't know if he could ever step past his fear. One golden afternoon, Daniel was sitting beneath the old oak tree by the riverbank. He had brought his violin, though he rarely played it outside. The sunlight danced on the rippling water, and wildflowers nodded gently in the breeze. Lost in the beauty of the moment, he let the bow glide across the strings. The notes were soft at first, like whispers, but soon they grew into a melody that blended with the sounds of nature around him. Daniel thought he was alone, but someone had been listening. A little girl named Clara, who often played near the river, peeked around the tree. Her eyes were wide with wonder. "That was the most beautiful music I've ever heard," she said softly. Daniel felt his cheeks grow warm. "Oh, I didn't know anyone was here," he replied, fumbling with the bow. Clara smiled, her innocence unshaken by his nervousness. "You should play for everyone. It would make them so happy." Her words lingered in his heart long after she skipped away. That evening, while painting a sunset, Daniel thought about her. He realized that his fear was not of failing, but of being seen. And yet, wasn't music and art meant to be shared? Over the next days, Clara returned to listen, and little by little, Daniel found comfort in her quiet encouragement. She never asked for more than a song, never judged, only smiled with joy as she listened. Slowly, he began to believe that perhaps his gifts weren't just his, they belonged to the world, too. The summer festival was approaching, and whispers spread through the town of new talents who might perform. For the first time in his life, Daniel considered the possibility. His heart trembled with fear, but there was also a spark of hope flickering inside him. The night of the festival arrived, and the little town square glowed with lanterns strung between the rooftops. Families gathered with baskets of food, children laughed as they chased each other, and the scent of roasted apples filled the air. A small wooden stage stood in the center, waiting for the performers. Daniel stood at the edge of the crowd, his violin case clutched tightly in his hand. His heart raced, but Clara appeared beside him with a bright smile. "You can do it," she whispered, as if she already knew the music he carried inside. When his name was called, Daniel felt his legs turn heavy, but he climbed onto the stage. The crowd grew quiet.